more we've learnt about our seas, our spectacular seas off Scotland's coasts, the more we realise we have to protect our precious marine environment, because we have tens of thousands of unique species and habitats in Scotland's waters, and I've no doubt the people of Scotland want to protect that fantastic asset. Marine Scotland will be our marine management organisation effectively in Scotland to champion our seas, to champion our sustainable management of our seas, and we'll bring together scientific expertise, management expertise and enforcement as well at the same time, and it will champion the future of Scotland's seas and ensure that we use our seas sustainably around Scotland's coasts. And it makes sense to have integrated management of our seas, and that's why we wanted an integrated body, and that's what is Marine Scotland.
Well, Marine Scotland will be built from 3 strong, successful organisations to take on the new role coming out of the Marine Bill. So there's the Fisheries Research Service, which provides scientific advice on fisheries and marine issues. The Scottish Fisheries Protection Agency, which has a role in monitoring and ensuring compliance of the fishing industry in Scotland. And then there's the Marine Directorate, which has responsibility for policy on marine issues, particularly in relation to fisheries, aquaculture, freshwater fisheries, and the piloting of the Marine Bill itself through Parliament.
FRS currently is involved in a number of different areas in science. We do the standard fisheries assessment work and fisheries management related stuff, but we also do quite a lot of work on aquaculture, particularly fish disease work. We have a program dealing with the marine environment, things like pollution, things like where you can dump things at sea and so on. Well, we need to address the way we manage activity in the sea in a holistic way, and that means we need to bring together all of those parties that are working on marine issues, and clearly policy needs an evidence base, and we can provide that. And so by being closer to policy colleagues, we can make sure that the science that we do is closely related to their needs, and they can also understand how new developments in science can inform their policy making.
The SFPA is an agency of government that is there to monitor the activities of the fishing industry in terms of compliance with international EU and UK fisheries rules and regulations. And we do that through the deployment of resources, both ships, aircraft and fishery officers around the coast in the main fishing ports. And they monitor the fishing activities and the landing of catches from fishing vessels in the ports. Up until now, the SFPA has been a single role organisation that is monitoring the fishing industry. With the establishment of Marine Scotland, the agency will find itself involved in monitoring all activity in the marine environment, be it activity concerned with renewable energy, wildlife, all those sorts of aspects that concern the well-being of the environment and the sustainable exploitation of the environment generally.
I'm also very keen that Marine Scotland is not just part of government working with ministers, but it's looking outwards as well, of course, and what we take very seriously is a relationship with the many stakeholders who are interested in the future of Scotland's seas, and indeed the general public as well, because the people of Scotland are fascinated quite rightly by our seas, and I want the people of Scotland to enjoy our seas and learn about our seas, and hopefully Marine Scotland over time will develop that kind of role as well. But the opportunity before us is for Scotland to be in the lead for marine planning and marine nature conservation, and Marine Scotland will be the champion for trying to achieve those objectives, and I hope staff are as excited as I am about the prospects.
RSPB Scotland warmly welcomes the creation of Marine Scotland. We think it's very important that we have a new champion for the marine environment. We've long argued for marine legislation that reforms, simplifies and reorganises the way in which we manage our seas. And as part of that reform, we wanted to see a single government entity to champion the seas and to champion the sustainable management of the seas that puts the environment at the heart of how we look after that precious natural resource that is an important resource for the communities and the economies that it supports.
The Scottish renewables industry has a good record of working with the Scottish Government, and we see working with Marine Scotland as an extension of that. We'll be keen to work very closely with the staff of Marine Scotland to ensure that they understand what the renewables industry is about, and that we also understand what they're about as well.
Marine Scotland, with the birth of the UK and the Scottish Marine Bills, will be a highly significant organisation as far as we're concerned. It'll do the planning for the maritime world in which we live, and it'll be very, very important that the balance is got right.
Not everything is going to change suddenly on the 1st of April. That will be the beginning of the change, and 2009-10 will be a transitional year in which we prepare for the new powers under the Marine Bill. Now, that will mean a number of things for staff. First, there'll be some new opportunities because we'll be looking at taking on new roles such as planning. Second, if we're really going to have an integrated approach to management of the marine environment, we need to make sure that we're working in a way that does join up the different bits of the organisation. And I think that will be a really important challenge going forward.
Understandably, when we have times of change, people feel anxious about what the future may hold. And I think the first thing to be aware of is that nobody's going to lose their job. Some jobs will change, particularly in the areas of corporate services, and there will be support for those people to make sure that those people whose jobs change will be offered appropriate alternatives. On the scientific side, things are not likely to change. Most people will continue to have the jobs that they've currently got. But in the long term, the kind of science they do may develop in a different direction.
What's going to be of critical importance in the months and years ahead is the exploitation of the current talents that we have in the organisation, and through their contributions to the development of Marine Scotland, they will be making a very positive contribution to the efficiency of the new organisation. We want to make use of their professionalism as we have it at the moment, and to broaden that out in the future.
What will success look like in 5 to 10 years' time? Well, I think it's going to be delivering on all the things which our stakeholders are concerned about. So that's going to be effective conservation of our marine wildlife, a successful fishing industry, making sure that the marine renewables industry is going to be located in Scotland, not elsewhere, and overall getting recognition that we in Scotland are at the leading edge of an integrated approach to managing the marine environment.
Currently the wave and tidal sector in Scotland is at a very early stage, but in the next 5 or 10 years we hope to see the first significant commercial deployments of wave and tidal technologies around Scotland's coastline. Beyond that, we would hope to see the development of an industry that's world leading, that is supplying the rest of the world good, effective, productive wave and tidal technologies, and in Scottish waters we'll see some pretty significant rollout, I think, of those technologies.
We recognise that there will be a lot of challenges there, so we're going to do our very best to form a partnership with Marine Scotland, to work closely with Marine Scotland to make sure that what fishing needs and what the nation needs from sustainable harvesting of fish from the sea happens via Marine Scotland.
I know staff have been very supportive of the steps the Scottish Government are taking to protect the marine environment and the many industries that depend on our seas. And I hope, like me, they'll see Marine Scotland as a fantastic opportunity to show international leadership on marine issues and to ensure that Scotland's in the vanguard of marine management and marine conservation. It's a big responsibility, and we have many talented, skilled staff who'll be working within Marine Scotland. So this is a great opportunity. Our seas are extremely important to Scotland, and now we'll have one integrated body that will be able to champion the future of Scotland's seas, and I wish them the best of luck in doing that. But these really are exciting times ahead, and it's a very pertinent and timely issue for the 21st century, given all the issues surrounding climate change and marine nature conservation and many other related issues as well. So the future of Scotland's seas will largely be in the hands of Marine Scotland.